Hi guys, welcome back to the weekly live. Um, as always, we'll wait for 5 minutes before for everyone to join in, and then we will start the weekly live for today. I am really looking forward to today's weekly live, just for the reason that the person who we have with us today, um, I am really inspired by him, honestly. Uh, for whatever he's achieved, and not just because of his achievements, but also uh, because of his attitude towards life. He was also a fellow international student, so we will get to know a lot about his journey in today's 30-minute live. I believe it will be as interesting for you to hear as it was for me when I heard him for the first time. So we'll just wait and wait for him to join in, and we'll start the session at around 7:35. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining in. As I said, we will wait for another 4 minutes before we start the live session. We're still waiting for Arjun to join us, our guest for today. And as I said, I'm really excited and looking forward towards this live session because the person who we have today with us, Arjun Kashetti, also came to this country as an international student 6 years ago. So we would get to know more about what happened during those 6 years, and I'm so sure that we would have a lot to take away from this session. So really looking forward to this session, and I'm hopeful that you're looking forward to this session as much as I am. So just wait for another 4 minutes, and we will be right back. Hi Arjun, I can see you that you've joined in. Waiting for your video request eagerly. Also, to give everybody a heads up. Okay, so let's first get Arjun in. Okay. Okay, let me just get Arjun online. Mm-mm-mm. Hi Arjun, can you hear me?
Hey, Hash, how are you? I'm doing. I can hear you.
Okay, and can you see me?
See, I can see you. Can you see me? Can you hear me very clear?
Yeah, perfectly. I think I need to adjust my camera a bit because, uh, okay, why do I not understand this in one go? Like every time I struggle with this. But anyway, okay, yeah, I think it's good now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're good to
So
go.
first of all, welcome, and thank you so much for doing this. I was just telling the people who are joining now, I would repeat this again, that this is the first time I'm super excited for a session, this much excited, because you have been a fellow international student, like a lot of our followers, right? And your journey has been fascinating to me because when I heard you for the first time and when we had a candid conversation, I loved it. Not just because of your achievements, as I was mentioning earlier, but because of just the sheer positive attitude, right? And I feel that's much more important than the achievements. I'm always a firm believer that struggles, failures, success, it's all overrated. What's really important is to have an attitude towards a positive attitude and outlook towards life. Right? Once you are positive, you vibrate the same energy around, and then you connect with with similar kind of energies, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And before we start, and before I hand it over to you, one more thing. And I'm sorry I talk a lot, but just a little excited. One more thing I want to mention to everybody who's joining in is that this is for the first time I have not prepared even a single question for the live session because I felt this time let's keep it as a heart-to-heart conversation, and also keep it as candid as possible. So I am prepared with no notes. So if I fumble, excuse, but I wanted to keep it as real as possible for the viewers and for the listeners.
Absolutely.
Just giving a brief background of Arjun. Arjun came to Canada in 2016. Correct me if I'm wrong, which is
2014.
2014. Okay, sorry. So 2014, which is um, a significant while ago, right? So he came to the country as an international student in Seneca College, and he studied uh, supply chain management program. And he has 6 years experience in Canada in the same field, right? And the best part is that he studied in Seneca in 2014, and now he is a professor in the same college. So what an achievement! Uh, yeah, so I hand it over to you to introduce yourself better than what I did. And yeah, you can go ahead.
No, absolutely, yes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate for inviting me here today. Personally, very excited to talk and share my story. Again, like, a little bit of introduction about myself. I came as an international student. I'm actually from Bangalore. I do have 2 years of work experience in Bangalore. I worked as a financial analyst for 1.5 years. Then I figured out that I wanted higher education, wanted more exposure and whatnot. That time, UK, US, Australia was very tough to get into. Canada was relatively easy when compared to other countries. And I came here, took an 1 year program in international business management in one of the colleges, which I don't want to name right now, but I figured out that was not the right college for me. And luckily, I got into Seneca College. And rest is history. I studied 1 year program, graduated over there in 2016, and I do have 6 to 7 years of experience in supply chain management here in Canada. Worked with companies like Walmart, then moved to Sobeys, and I'm currently working for Home Depot as a supply chain professional. And I also teach at Seneca College, and I do take up a lot of initiatives, helping and coaching and mentoring new immigrants and international students on their personal, professional, and business development.
How do you do so much? What's that?
So I think it's a very good question because I think I was actually thinking about this particular question because every time I tell these people do ask me where do you get the time. You know what? I go to Walmart and buy time every week. It's not the true answer, right? So you don't get time. You have to make time, and it's just about your priorities. It's about your goals. It's about your dreams. Particularly, I don't have Netflix, Hotstar, Disney, none of those significant because I left my family, because I left my friends, I left my food. I had a very great life in Bangalore. So if I'm coming to Canada and binge watching all these movies and series and whatnot. So it's not really making any sense for me. And that's where I started investing my time into growing myself, reading a lot of books. If you see here, a lot of books behind me, and coming from India, I've never academically never been an good person in terms of my academics, like barely passing. My mom used to beat me up left, right, center. But after coming here, I do realize that you know what, I really want to invest into myself, and I cut down on my vacations. I cut down on spending money outside, and totally dedicated towards personal development and improving myself. So that's where I get my time from.
Yeah, that sounds quite fascinating and also quite overwhelming because you said you do not have Netflix and you do not have Hotstar and whatnot, right? But just a quick question, do you never have FOMO, like that you're missing out on something? Because we generally, when we sit together with our friends, and if to we talk about the generation, the millennials, the Gen Zs, right, or the zillennials, as you say, the topic of discussion is what the new series which you watch on Netflix, right, or what's happening in the glamour world, or what's happening in sports, stuff like that, right? But since you said that you are not focusing, not focusing, but you're not using your time on these activities, which are probably leisure for a lot of people, right? So, do you ever have that FOMO when you are meeting your friends or group circle or group?
No, great question. So, frankly speaking, I don't get FOMO for not watching the movies. I get FOMO when I'm watching the movies because I'm losing 3 hours of my time. And when I'm doing it, I'm like, my mind is constantly thinking, man, I would have done something much better, significant in my life rather than watching these particular things because all the stories are recycled. All the actors are recycled. All the comedy is recycled. Throughout the pandemic, people have lost that creative juice. And you understand after watching three, and typically people who are watching this live can absolutely agree with this. After watching one movie of 3 hours, then you realize it was not worth your time. Most of the times. Yes, there are popular movies. I do watch them for sure, no questions about it. Maybe one or two in a month. Uh, on the opposite side, people are watching one or two on a daily basis, which I don't do. Which I don't do personally. And I don't get FOMO. And every time I watch a movie, 3 hours movie, 1 hour things are not really cooking up, and it's not really interesting. I just shut it out and take it forward from there. And last but not least, once you achieve your goals and once you achieve your dreams, and once you feel fulfilled in your life, you can sit down and watch all the movies, man. Like when you're young and energetic, if you spend your time in watching movies, when you're old, what do you do?
But then what is leisure for you? So uh, you always have something called as guilty pleasure, right? Um, which you say as watching a movie probably is kind of a guilty pleasure. So for me, guilty pleasure is watching interviews. I love watching it.
Mhm.
At some time, I mean, sometimes it's good, right? Sometimes you get a lot of inspiration listening to people around, listening to successful people. But at other moments, doing too much or something is also not good. So for me, I feel that, and some interviews which I watch are just for fun, right? So that's my guilty pleasure. So what do you think define as your guilty pleasure?
Yeah, so that's a great point. As in fact, I've actually designed my day in such a way that I don't get bored. That means from the time I wake up in the morning until I sleep at I wake up around like 7 ish, and I sleep around 10 o'clock in the night. So not 10 o'clock, sorry, 1 o'clock in the night, and I do have something to take care in throughout that particular time. Point number one. Point number two is I get happy. I mean, I feel very happy when I talk to people, engage in relationships, build relationships, empower people, help people. And I also, as you mentioned, that you watch a lot of documentaries and whatnot, I do listen to a lot of YouTube podcasts when I'm doing some activities which doesn't require my conscious efforts, where I'm doing work through subconscious effort. Maybe I'm at work and I know that certain reports I can do it without putting a lot of attention and whatnot. So maybe I might watch some YouTube podcast to just keep me awake and whatnot. Or when I'm driving long distance, I do go through a lot of YouTube podcasts and a lot of different podcasts and whatnot. And also, me and my wife go out every weekend to different cities, explore, meet people, build our community, fellow international student community, onboard more people. So that's where I get all my fun. And yeah, I mean, that's where my guilty pleasure is. So
So what is a typical day in your life? So you said that you get up at 7, you sleep at 1, and you have enough on in your plate, which doesn't um, bore you, right? Or which doesn't deviate your attention because you do not have that time span to think about something else. So what does a typical day in Arjun Kashetti's life looks like?
so I wake up at 7 o'clock and spend a little bit of time for myself, and then I also read a book. The moment I wake up, I read book, and then I start my work from 8 to 5, 8 to 6. It is pretty intense, so I need to give my full attention, and I'm always there. And I take a 1 hour break between that 5:36 to 7. And from 7 until 11, it's business building time. And also, I teach at Seneca College, so I pick up a couple of courses over there. There'll be work towards correcting the assignments. And also, I'm a career coach and have my own businesses and whatnot. So I have a lot of meetings going on from 7 to 11. And that's where I spend most of my time back to back. And I get here and there slots available, and I try to book it as much as possible, at least a week ahead. If you ask me right now, my next 7 days evenings are already booked. So
Book doing what? Like meeting people?
meeting people, talking to people, building my business, empowering, etc., etc.
Okay, so you work at Walmart, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, I'm working for Home Depot, and I'm teaching at Seneca College. I have my own e-commerce business where I coach and mentor how people make money online. A lot of things.
Okay. So do you have a schedule which you follow? Because I'm sure that's necessary, and most of the international students forget about it. That scheduling is really important in a country like this because everything works as per a calendar, right? So
Yeah.
we the habit of putting everything in our calendars, right? So do you follow a certain schedule, or how flexible are you with your schedule, and how do you maintain your social relationships? Because if you're doing too many things, what I have realized is that sometimes when you keep saying no to people for things, because I believe in this, and I've heard this so many times from all the documents and stuff. Yes does not make you successful, but saying no's make you, right? If you say yes to everything, uh, thinking that the other person might get offended, right? It's you who is losing. So sometimes you have to be a little selfish and say no to a lot of things. But in real life, what happens is that if you keep saying no, right, to the to your social connections, eventually they'll stop um, involving you in their social circle, thinking that
Okay.
probably you're arrogant, rude, because not everybody is this ambitious, right? Not everybody juggles between four things. So how do you maintain that social relationship with your friends? And if do you have like a really big group of friends, or how does it work?
That's a great question. That's deep, in fact. And one thing I've realized is success is always minority. And successful people feel lonely on the top. And I've accepted the fact and I'm pursuing that. Point number one. Point number two is I'm very active on social media. And I try my best to talk to them, wish them on the occasions, just to show that how how much importance I give to my own cousins, my friends, my family. However, I would not be able to give the time because I'm here to pursue my dreams and goals. Period. I'm not here to really impress anybody and whatnot, but at the same time, true people will stay back. True people will understand that this guy is working hard, and at a point, once he achieves it, he's going to give all the time and love and whatnot. So that I've made it very clear for most of my friends and family, and they're very aware of it. At the same time, when time comes, I'm the first one who's there to help them. And they know that as well. So when the expectations are right in such a way and it's very clear and it is very concrete in terms of where I'm heading to, again, social media is really helping me to be in connection. So I see all the stories. I react to every story. I might not give time. I might not hang out. I might not go out for a patio dinner with my friends. But if they got a job, I'm the first one to comment. If their birthday, I'm the first one to send the wishes. If they need help, I'm the first one to pitch in and help wherever they need.
So coming to my first question, which means that if you are able to wish people on their birthdays, meaning that you have some kind of schedule or a calendar or some reminders. So how do you use technology and scheduling and calendars um, in your life? Think from the aspect that it is beneficial for you and not not negative, right? So how are you using technology for your own benefit to maintain the social relationship? That's the first part of the question. And the second part is, do you recommend any one, two, three applications which you really use and feel that has made your life simpler in terms
Yeah.
of organization? So yeah, I would want you to answer these two questions.
Yeah, I'll answer the
Just
second
before,
question and then yeah,
and
good.
I think out of the topic that I should not be preparing for my sessions, because what I'm able to ask you right now, because if I have this list of questions, I'm just probably thinking of going to the next question. But because
I totally understand that. Yeah,
doing a conversation like this, my next question is coming out of your answers. So I think,
absolutely.
and going forward, guys, I am getting rid of my questionnaires. So this is better.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I do use Calendly. It's a calendar application which allows me to book my meetings and whatnot, and as well as I use my calendar to be organized all my meetings. And I mean, as a regular person, I do use social media. So when you use social media, you get notifications on all these occasions, and every time I get an occasion, I try to make sure that I wish them and I encourage them right away. I'm not making note of it saying that, my cousin birthday, I gotta go ahead and wish them and whatnot. But every time there is an occasion, I see a notification, I make sure that I wish them. So it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Any application you're using other than Calendly to organize yourself?
Talenting is the basic stuff. I'm not a big techie guy in terms of organizing myself and whatnot because I have a pretty straightforward life and I work from home, so I don't even go out. So everything is concrete and set. So Calendly and Calendar is something which I use. I use LinkedIn for connecting with people, Instagram to post and share my thoughts, Facebook very limited. I only use it for groups, creating groups and whatnot. WhatsApp, I irritate people by putting a lot of stories. So other than that, yeah, those are my applications, and these are pretty good. I use OneNote to make a lot of notes.
So you said that you've been using social media a lot, but uh, recently people have been there has been a lot of focus on reducing your screen time, right? There have been a lot of conversation applications. These developers have come up with focus and time limit and
Yeah.
whatnot. What is your idea on it, and how much time do you spend on how what is your average screen time, if you don't mind?
I think I am a victim of getting attached to my phone, and it all started because when I was in Canada, I mean, when I came to Canada, I did not have any family, friends, anybody. My wife was in India, so phone was the only relationship what I was maintaining because any communication had to go from India, Canada to India. It was only coming towards coming through mobile phones and whatnot. I think the relationship started over there, but right now, unfortunately, with the notifications, with all the social media, we tend to go there. I have realized it that I spend a lot of time on my phone and whatnot, but now I'm putting a lot of deliberate efforts to, like, whenever I'm working, I put my phone aside. I'm not touching my phone. One of the reason why I've deleted Facebook is because, like, a couple of months back when I was doing some time assessment, I figured out that I'm using like 8 hours of Facebook on a weekly basis. That's too much of a time. So irrespective whether I don't have Facebook, Netflix, and Hotstar, my time is going over there. So I'm kind of fooling myself, telling that I don't have Netflix and Hotstar, and I'm watching some other random videos in Facebook. So I cut down that, and I put deliberate effort to, like, cut that down. And my message to people is they should actually be aware of what kind of content they're consuming. Talking about all the cryptos, because last 2 years everybody were Warren Buffett's and Bill Gates, who know how to do all these cryptos and wealth symbols. I'm not a big advocate of all these things. The reason is very simple. If you don't know something, don't touch it out of FOMO. Close to 60-70% of the money in the crypto have been evaporated right in front of people's eyes, and they have people don't even have an idea where to get that and what to happen and whatnot. And also, like, not chasing too many rabbits at the same time, because I got into supply chain management. Supply chain management is pretty good paying jobs at the same time, pretty stability. But I have a lot of my friends who make huge money in IT, like pretty good money in IT. They left the business managements and chased IT jobs and whatnot. But right now, due to recession, you're seeing the IT jobs are the first jobs which are being like, lost and whatnot. So that would be my message. Being
Yeah.
self-aware,
Yes,
not chasing rabbits out of FOMO.
yeah, but then there's FOMO, and then people also have certain responsibilities to meet, right? When you come to a foreign land, now I would want to go to this aspect of your life. Why did you plan to move to a foreign country? Because as you said, you were pretty comfortable in Bangalore, had your family there, right? It's not easy to take a decision like this. We all have certain aspirations in our mind before moving, right? So what were yours? Why did you move to this country? And at any given point, did you ever regret coming here? And if you did, how did you console yourself? Oh, a lot of questions. One question, just to repeat. Why did you move to the country? Did you have any aspirations? Um, and why Canada? And did you ever regretted coming to Canada? So these are my
Yeah. So to answer your question, why did I come to Canada is very simple. I was working in a job, pretty good job. I was having my best time in my life because it was paying me like 20,000, 30,000 rupees in 2014. And I did not have to send any money to my parents. I was in Bangalore. My parents were in hometown. Night shift. It was a night shift. Barely I was doing anything, making good money, having a lot of fun, going to bars and pubs, enjoying, blast of the time. But however, when I saw the senior management within the company, the amount of time they were putting in working hard towards climbing up the corporate ladder, and the income what they were making, and the lifestyle what they had, I really did not want to have that particular thing into my life. And I told myself, if I work in this job for next 10 years, I would be like my boss or boss's boss, and I don't like how they are, and I don't want to continue the same thing. And that's when it triggered me to look for alternative opportunities. And it looked into MBAs in India and also chartered accountancy. My academics were not really up to that mark in terms of achieving those things. And one of the easiest way was coming to Canada. And I really desperately wanted to move out from there and explore. And coming from a small town to Bangalore really helped me to nurture myself and become a better personality. And I believe that if I come to North American country, I can become a better person. And that's when I choose and I came to Canada. Did I regret? Yes. Within the first month, first week, first year. Did I feel like going back? Yes, I did feel like going back. I did feel like giving up. I did feel like, man, I was so happy in Bangalore, enjoying every single day. Here I have depression, overthinking, anxiety, etc., etc., lack of clarity, hopelessness, cold, very expensive. Everybody are like, taking care of their own stuff. Nobody's there to care you. And in fact, combining all these things, bed bugs and cockroaches. Uh, so with all those things, you feel like, man, like you regret for sure. But one mantra which I followed is every time I feel like quitting, this is the only mantra I tell myself: not today, tomorrow. And when I do that, I would be able to show that consistency and get wherever I want.
I think it's a good point to note for everybody, not today, tomorrow, and then that tomorrow never comes. So you're using that mantra of tomorrow never comes for your favor, because usually when we're doing a task, we like, not today, we'll do that task tomorrow. But you're not using it in that sense, but just in the sense that you don't quit today, tomorrow. So ideally, you've made it work for you. You made this mantra work for you, right? So kudos, kudos.
Yeah.
So you briefly mentioned about your wife, right? That you and your wife go out every weekend. So how much do you think it is important for you in all that race of touching your ambitious goal and stuff like that, is family? And what do you think? Are there any steps which you follow to nurture that family um, dynamics? Not just your wife, but you said your cousins, your parents, right? So, and especially when we're living uh, far away from them, like quite far away, significantly far away from them, right? So, how do you nurture those relationships? And yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you sometimes feel that probably all this what I'm doing um, in the end might not be worth it because then there's no family around, right? So, what are your um, yeah,
Yeah. No, very good question. I got a question. So first of all, as I told you, how do I nurture my family? I'm always there whenever there is a need. I'm always there. And when I might not talk every single day, but let's say I'm talking to them once a month, I give my 100% heart, and they know that a real person is talking to them, right? I'm talking for them, not for me. I'm talking behalf of them. Like, I'm trying to help them in whatever. And in terms of close family, yes, I do talk to them very frequently. uh, and like in terms of like relationship with my me and my wife, I'm thankful that my wife is also as ambitious as me, or even more ambitious than me, and she puts me on the toes. Like whenever I'm slacking off, she right away kicks my butt and asks me, like, get up and get things rolling. And that's how we work. And last but not least, it's about whether it's worth or not. You only have that thought when you're not moving on an everyday basis. When you're moving and working on an everyday basis towards your goals, you don't have time to think whether it's worth or not, because you're chasing progression.
yeah,
You are in progression mode every single day. And I read Elon Musk saying one thing: whatever he works 80 hours, 90 hours on a weekly basis, whatever regular people achieves in 1 or 2 years, he achieves in 4 to 5 months.
yeah, 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 yeah. Just to
So now, instead of just working 9 to 5, letting go my evenings and weekends, doing that for next 65 years, I would rather burn myself for next 10 years and
yeah,
get what I want. There you go.
yeah, that's an ideology probably. So which I might differ from a little bit. Keeping in mind the pandemic, it shook me because I was like that, Ash, no, come what may, you have to give yourself that space, right, to rejuvenate. And it can be different for different people. But you also mentioned that you like traveling and you do that. So for me also, it was really important. I said 80 hours a week might not be that important. uh, if I plan it well, it might be achieved in 60 hours also, right? uh,
Absolutely, absolutely.
but I have to make sure that if I have to attend this um, event, which I've been waiting for from 2 months, irrespective of the work I have, irrespective of the
Absolutely.
hours I have at risk, right? I might lose $1,000 in that day, just because there's something which has come up. I would not want to earn that $1,000, because life is also to be lived, right?
Absolutely. See, it's not always about the money, right? As like, frankly speaking, most of the things what I do in the evenings would not pay me right away, but eventually it pays me off. And yeah, I mean, like, in terms of regenerating, I totally agree with it. And for me, getting an 8 hour sleep on a night is already regenerating. Like, how much regeneration do we really need?
Yeah.
So,
So I'm compromising on that. So for me, 5 hours is the sleep mantra. So I would rather, I don't know why, because I've always had this feeling whenever I'm sleeping, I'm guilty. So because as I say, everybody is wired differently, right? I'm like, I can do something.
I used to feel that way. Like every time I used to sleep, like why am I wasting my time? Then I got into fainting situation where I was like, no, I
Yeah,
gotta get
it works
good
for
rest, good
me.
rest so that we can perform well.
It's 8 o'clock, but I have to address this question. So, followers, you have to stay with us, and I am sure it'll be worth it for another 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So, the topic for today was your journey from being a student to a professor. So, I want you to briefly, in 2 or 3 minutes, uh, describe this journey, the feeling, and when you first got appointed as a professor. Um, and why did you choose to do this? Like, did you have this in your mind, or did it just happen? So, and I assume you said that probably you need a higher qualification to do this, but you, without that qualification, got into it, right? Uh, so, just if you can briefly describe this whole journey in probably 3 or 4 minutes.
No, absolutely. So first of all, for me, getting in a seat in Seneca College was a wonder because I had to write my IELTS for 4 times to come to Canada, and after that as well, I have not got the perfect score to get into Seneca College 6.5. So it was a pretty back and forth challenge going with Seneca College. Finally, they saw my dedication, and I was not letting them go, and they gave me the offer letter with six, not 6.5, because I was physically being here in Toronto and I was talking to them. Obviously, I graduated, I started working, and once I started venturing into fellow international student and start having my own business, where majority of my time went into coaching and mentoring and developing new leaders. And once that happened, I started developing the new interest towards teaching and coaching because I could see that I'm good at it. I could see that things are working well. And moreover, for me, I don't have to prepare and I don't have to really work hard. So I got that skill. I'm enjoying it, and I'm not making it as a chore. I'm actually enjoying. I'm living to my fullest potential when I'm teaching somebody. And obviously, I did not think that I would be able to get into Seneca College as a professor. But however, I was one of the alumni who did pretty good from that particular program. So what Seneca College did is every time there is an alumni panel, they used to bring me back to the panel because working for companies like Walmart, Sobeys, Home Depot, etc. It's almost like you being an IT professional working for Google or Microsoft, Facebook, etc., etc. So college recognized that, and they started bringing me back to these alumni panels where 100, 200 people are sitting over there, and I'm giving my tips and thought process. And a lot of students connected to me, and after the session, they came and spoke to me, and the entire professors and the program coordinators saw that. So it became a routine over 3, 4 years of period. I've kept on online, offline every 4 months once. I'm there in Seneca College. And I think in 2021, mid of 2021, I did see that Seneca was having more students and they wanted a little bit more help in terms of teaching people. And I saw in LinkedIn post by one of the recruiters saying that we are looking for more professors in Seneca College. Anybody interested, apply. All I have to do is I didn't even have to apply it. All I had to do is reach out to the program coordinator, show my interest. I just had an 15 minutes meet and greet, and there you go. The offer letter was printed, and I got the offer letter. Obviously, it's a dream come true. No questions about it. I thoroughly enjoyed teaching. I met so many skilled students. And that is something which is very significant because every hour I spent teaching over there, I was building the next set of leaders in Canada for success. So I took that as an very big responsibility. I wish I would have done an in-person college, not a Zoom class sessions, because it's a
So
complete different story.
you might be able to do it soon, right?
Yes, absolutely. But for that, I need to be a little bit more free, and we'll see how it goes. But again, it's a great opportunity, and I'm very happy and whatnot. So yeah.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. It was inspiring. Uh, and as I say, more than the achievements, what I glorify is the attitude, because as I say, a firm believer of having the right attitude. Also, one thing which I feel is common between us, um, which I advocate to, is that it all starts with a dream, right? And and there's another part to it. So people forget after this. People forget. I've heard a lot of people saying that it's the first step is the most difficult step to take. I differ. I am like, it's easy to take the first step, but taking consistent steps is the challenging part, because you're
Absolutely.
close to achieving where you are, but you don't realize it and you quit. So it's not, as you said, not today, tomorrow, right? So that's the philosophy which I believe in. First step is easy. Those consistent steps will challenge you, but what's waiting for you, even you cannot imagine what's waiting for you on the other side of the road, right? So
Yeah.
not today, tomorrow. So like if you join those two things, I think that's the whole idea of life, right?
You're spot on. When your motivation dies, your discipline has to kick in.
Yes.
Everybody can start, but not everybody can finish.
Definitely, definitely. Motivation is a fancy word like success and failure. Consistency is the key, right? So, yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you. We're already over time, so we'll not.
No, absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me.
We will be in touch probably after this conversation even more and have discussions. We can have these kind of live discussions for sure, and
Absolutely.
always try to collaborate on similar things, right? So, and thank you so much to all the followers. I can still see people joining in, but I will be posting the video for the whole sessions. In case you missed it, you can come to Student Connect's page and follow it. Just to briefly let you know what Student Connect is doing, we didn't get a chance to say it in the beginning. It's a non-profit organization which was just 2 years ago. We're helping the student community become stronger, similar to what Arjun is doing. We're trying to connect the right people, because if we are able to connect the right dots, uh, that trail, we're increasing uh, the chain, right? And together we can do much more than what we can do alone, right? So if so, that's the whole agenda behind the organization, connecting the right people who can help each other. Nothing fancy, but just connecting the people who eventually can together do something substantial. That's what the name is all about, Student Connect. And I'm Ash. I'm the founder of the organization, and we do weekly lives. So in case you're interested, do drop us a DM, and if we can get you on our weekly live, that'll be great. But don't forget to follow us, like, share our content. I hope you like it. That's all. Enough.
Fantastic.
We are done for the day.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day. Um, and we'll be in touch. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao.